chose the theme, Persuade Me. And I chose this theme because of the presentation that we had last week by Roberta Perry, where she presented the 5 rules of persuasion. This is actually, were studied by Socrates and were adapted by American marketing and basically marketing throughout the world in the 1950s, and have been found that these 5 steps are so effective at persuading people to buy our stuff or buy into our service that it's used in basically every marketing campaign around the world. You pick up any magazine, and these 5 steps are listed, are not listed, but if you read between the lines, you will see all 5 of these steps used in every marketing campaign. It's called the motivated sequence, and this can also be found on page 26 of your Toastmasters Competent Communicators Manual. So when you're getting ready to do your speaking to persuade speech, these 5 steps are listed so that you can create a speech tailored to these 5 steps. The motivated sequence. The first one is attention. Seize the audience's attention with your opening and direct the attention toward your topic. You can use a quote or a story to reinforce that. Step number 2 is present the need or the problem. State the existing need or problem, explaining why it is important to your listeners. Step 3 is satisfaction or solution. Present your solution to the need or the problem, showing how the solution meets the needs or solves the problem. Support your position with evidence. Step number 4 is visualization, or what's in it for me. Draw a mental picture for your audience with conditions, intensifying the audience's commitment to your position. Present to them what is in my presentation for their benefit. And then last, step number 5 is action. Turn the agreement and the commitment from the audience into actual positive action. In other words, that's when you would say, buy my stuff, or vote for me, or whatever it is that you're presenting that you are getting people to buy into. Based on that, I wanted to just give a short presentation using those 5 steps that I started working on last week once I realized what those 5 steps were. Ladies and gentlemen, whose life are you living? According to a recent study, the #1 deathbed regret is, I wish I'd had the courage to be true to myself, not the life others expected of me. How does that ring true for you? Are you being true to yourself, to who you know you are, or are you living your life by the expectations of everyone around you? Are you living your life by their beliefs, their expectations? Are you living your life by the beliefs that others have placed on you about who you should be, what you should do, what you should wear, or better yet, even who others say God expects you to be? When I was a little girl, I began to realize the person I wanted to be was not the person everyone around me was telling me God had created me to be. And for another 20 years, I tried to be that good girl, but it just never felt right for me. And then when I was 17 years old, I found the courage to leave the only thing I'd ever known and go out into this world and search for my happiness. And then what I discovered not so long ago is that I had traded expectations of my parents and the community for the expectations of the world and everybody else around me. I wore all the right clothes and drove the right car and went to all the right places, but I wasn't being true to myself. I never had that sense of fulfillment that comes from being true to yourself. And I always felt a little bit empty. And so then the answer came to me just within the last couple of years that that's what was missing. And I stopped listening to that voice in my head. I stopped listening to all of the voices around me, and instead I started listening to myself, to my true self. At first it was just a gut feeling of something's just not quite right. And after I listened to my true self for a while, it turned into inspiration. And I found that when I started really listening to who I am in my core, my truth, that I found the fulfillment that I was looking for. That I found happiness regardless of my circumstances and regardless of what anybody else was saying to me. So imagine a life where you are free to be yourself. Imagine living consciously by who you know you are. Imagine going where you want to go and being who you want to be and doing what you want to do, not out of selfishness, but out of self-honor. Imagine going through life in complete integrity of who you know you are. Imagine living by your truth instead of the expectations of anyone else. Now that is real freedom. To learn more about how you can live in your own inner truth, or what I call living, visit www.corecenterliving.com or see me after.